And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, baby. People talking without speaking. 10,000 people, baby. People talking without speaking. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, baby.
Miss Lane, close your head.
And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, baby. People talking without speaking.
For you today, interesting to see what's moving on the world. Your S&P 500 up about 0.4%, but tech is the second to last gainer when it comes to the market action this morning. Really seeing gains in that. You got consumer discretionary and communication services and healthcare, the three biggest gainers on your S&P this morning. But let's flip the board over to the bond market. The yields coming in just a touch. The 10-year still holding at that 4.30 level, down by basis points. Continue to see that movement across the
And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people,
finally here, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Seeing a little bit of that risk on sentiment catching hold here with this digital currency up about a little over actually 3.5% and above the 97,000 level this morning. The Federal Reserve is unlikely to cut rates.
and in the naked light I saw
Labor market showing no major signs of distress, and with all of the tariff policies still unknown. Despite the data, President Donald Trump has called for the FOMC to ease rates, writing on social media in April that the central bank has been pushed too late and wrong. Joining me now in this involved bill, the former president of the Federal Reserve.
and in the naked light I
Pleasure
saw
to speak with you. Talk to me about your expectations heading into today. What are you expecting to hear from the Federal Reserve? How many times do you think we might hear the word transitory this afternoon?
I don't think that we'll hear the word transitory that much because I think that it's not sure yet whether the higher prices from tariffs are
And
going
in the
to
naked
inflation
light I
expectations and then on to wages. I think Powell's basically going to stress two things: that we're on hold for the time being because there's a lot of uncertainty, and the uncertainty about trade and tariffs is going to affect both growth negatively and inflation negatively, pushing inflation up and growth down. So it basically pushes the Fed further away from its dual mandate objectives.
And in the
But
naked
in a
light
very
I
uncertain way. I mean, we also don't know exactly where we're going to land on tariffs and how much are the tariffs going to actually be on the long run in the coming months. So it's basically going to be an abundance of caution that's going to be sitting on its hand for some time, especially given the fact that the hard news on the economy is still pretty solid. The 0.3%
And in the naked
decline
light I
in GDP in the first quarter was completely misleading. It was only because they counted imports better than they counted inventories. And so they showed a big drag from the inventory sector, pushing the economy into negative territory. The private domestic final sales actually rose 3% in the first quarter, which suggests that the economy still has a considerable forward momentum. That said, we haven't seen the effects of the tariffs yet. And that's really what's going to be important over the next few months.
And Bill, I'm curious too what you're anticipating hearing from the Fed chair specifically regarding tariffs after news overnight here that the United States and China are expected to have trade talks in the coming days. What do you think the messaging from Powell on those talks might look like?
And in the naked
I
light I
think Powell's basically going to say, let's wait and see. But I think that the Trump administration has an incentive to talk about negotiations to try to be reassuring to financial markets. But whether those negotiations are going to be fruitful and what time frame remains to be determined. So I think the Fed takes the role that Powell wants it to be. And right now, we have a set of tariffs that are going to drive down growth and inflation. And it's going to basically sit on their hands until they figure out how this is going to be resolved.
And it's interesting you say the Fed takes the world as it is. Based on the summary of economic projections, it did seem like the Fed could be thinking that tariffs are no need to hike in response, but it also seems like they're not necessarily in a rush to cut either. Where do they net out then? What is the key concern for the Fed about this economy?
Well, they're hopeful that tariff price increases will be due to the one-time transitory effect, but they can't be concerned because this will be the 50th inflation rate will come above the Fed's 2% objective. So, the Fed's credibility is a bit at risk. If the Fed makes a big bet that the price increases are transitory, and that turns out to be wrong, we get
God.
inflation expectations, and that gets passed along to wages, then the Fed's got in a very, very bad place because inflation expectations become an anchor that we saw in the 1970s. It's very, very hard to get that inflation genie back in the bottle again.
Yeah, and talk to me about kind of getting that genie back in the bottle when it comes to trade and the impact that that is having on both the global economy but also the United States economy. If we do start to see these trade deals coming in, does that necessitate and lead to a stop in the economic slowdown that we've already seen at least in soft economic data?
Well, I mean, obviously, it helps mitigate the damage to the economy, but some of the damage is already taking place because if ships from China aren't sailing today, that means that there's going to have to be a lot of ships sailing in the future, and there are enough ships to go on. So, I think we've already set the stage for supply chain frictions that will be plaguing this economy over the coming months, even if we renegotiate trade deals with these foreign countries.
So what do you think the Fed is more focused on right now? And we've heard some signs of it today. Do you think they're more focused on a concern about growth or increased inflation?
I think that they're concerned about growth. I think they don't have a strong view of which one is necessarily going to dominate. Obviously, to the extent that the unemployment rate starts rising a lot, that would then shift their concern to the side of the equation. One thing that people haven't really focused on enough is that we don't really need a lot of economic growth to keep the unemployment rate where it is, because the labor force is growing much more slowly this year than last year because of deportations and the clampdown on immigration. So last year we had very strong labor force growth that meant that you could actually have sturdy payroll employment growth that would bring more pressure on the labor market. This year we're sort of in a very opposite situation where we actually need strong, small increases in payroll employment if we're going to keep the unemployment rate stable. So it's a very different situation from